I'm holding in my hands one Cat8 Ethernet cable and one Cat5e Ethernet cable. Now I'm sure you're thinking the Cat8 Ethernet cable must be faster because it's a higher version and a higher category of cable, but in reality both of these cables provide me with the same internet speed. In this episode from Network from Home, I'm going to be explaining why Cat8 Ethernet cables do not increase your internet speed and what Ethernet cables you should be getting instead. When it comes to Cat8 Ethernet cables, it's totally understandable if you think that they provide faster speeds than lower versions of cables like Cat5e, Cat6, etc. And that's because there's so much marketing that's attached to these Cat8 cables. If you go on Amazon, you'll see descriptions like super fast Ethernet cable, made for PS5, made for PC, made for gaming. You'll see all these terms that make it sound like Cat8 Ethernet cables are extremely fast and they'll provide you with blazing fast internet speeds. And of course, they're going to charge you more for them because they're the latest and greatest versions. But in reality, Cat8 Ethernet cables, they don't increase your internet speed at all. When it comes to the different categories of Ethernet cables, the difference between them is the maximum internet speeds they can support. The key there is support because they're not actually providing the internet speed themselves. They are basically just the infrastructure that your internet plan uses to provide data to your devices and their internet connection. So when looking at these different categories of cables, for example, with a Cat5e cable, it can support maximum speeds of 1 gigabit per second. With a Cat6a cable, you can support speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. And with a Cat8 cable, you can support speeds between 25 and 40 gigabits per second. Now, these are all crazy fast speeds, but again, remember what we're talking about here. These Ethernet cables are just infrastructure. They're not providing internet speeds this fast. They just allow internet speeds up to that fast to travel through the cable. A good analogy to use here is think of your Ethernet cables as water pipes, and your internet speed or your internet connection is the water that travels through them. Let's take a quick look at an example here to illustrate this further. Here what we have, you have your water pipe, you have some source providing water to your home, and then obviously on the other side of this water pipe is the water that's going to your home through your pipes to your appliances. So here we are. Let's say we have a 1 gallon per minute water flow that's coming to our home. Our pipe can support 10 gallons per minute. So what do we see on the other side? Well, if the water source is only providing 1 gallon per minute of water, that's what you see on the other side. You see 1 gallon per minute. If we then go and increase that water flow to 10 gallons per minute, our water pipe can still support that because it has a maximum allowable water speed of 10 gallons per minute. So on the other side, again, we're seeing 10 gallons per minute. All that water flow that's coming into the pipe, we're seeing on the other side of the pipe. Now, if we increase that water speed further, you have 20 gallons per minute going to this pipe. The pipe only supports 10 gallons per minute, however. So basically this serves as a bottleneck, and what you see on the other side is 10 gallons per minute. You can't force water any faster through this pipe than this pipe is made for. And if the pipe's only made for 10 gallons per minute, that's what you're going to get as a maximum water flow on the other side of the pipe. Extending this example to your internet connection, here you have your connection to the internet. It is providing your home with a certain amount of internet speed as part of your internet plan, and it's traveling through your Ethernet cable like water travels through pipes. So here, if our internet plan provides 500 megabits per second, our Ethernet cable can support speeds up to 1 gigabit per second, which is equal to 1,000 megabits per second. On the other side, we'll see 500 megabits per second. There's no restriction here as a result of the Ethernet cable. Increase our internet speed further. Now we're providing 1 gigabit per second of internet speed. Again, our Ethernet cable can support speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. So on the other side of that connection, we're seeing 1 gigabit per second again. Increasing our internet plan further here to 2 gigabits per second. Now we run into trouble because again, our Ethernet cable can only support speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. So what do we see on the other side? We see 1 gigabit per second. Now, the whole point of this analogy here is to show you that even if you have a slower internet plan than your Ethernet cables can support, this doesn't increase your internet speed. Conversely, however, if you have an internet speed that's much faster than what your Ethernet cables can support, it will serve as a bottleneck for your internet connection, and you'll get the maximum speed that that Ethernet cable can support. Hopefully that analogy made sense to you and you now better understand how Ethernet cables work. I'd love to see in the comments section if that analogy was useful for you and it helped with your understanding of this concept. Okay, back to the task at hand here. To prove the point that I illustrated in this analogy, I ran a speed test with a Cat8 Ethernet cable and a Cat5e Ethernet cable, and I ran them right after each other with the same device. Now, as a reminder, a Cat8 Ethernet cable can support speeds between 25 and 40 gigabits per second. A Cat5e Ethernet cable can support speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. My internet plan is 1 gigabit per second, so neither of these cables are providing a bottleneck for my internet plan. And unsurprisingly, what do we see? We see just about the same speed, both upload and download speed, using both of these cables. In effect, the Cat8 Ethernet cable provided no advantage or improvement to my home network. So what's the key takeaway here? Again, your Ethernet cables, all they have to do is support the speed that's provided by your internet plan, and that's it. So in many cases, most people have an internet plan that provides less than 1 gigabit per second of internet speed, so a Cat5e cable is more than enough. At this point, you're only going to see Cat8 Ethernet cables in data centers because those are the only places that deal with speeds this fast. So if you use Cat8 Ethernet cables in your home, all you're going to be doing is spending more money, and you're not going to get any performance benefits as a result of using them. So what category of Ethernet cable should you be buying for your home? Well, as I previously mentioned, if you have an internet plan that's providing 1 gigabit per second of bandwidth or less, you can get away with a Cat5e Ethernet cable and you won't have any problems. Now, if you're the type of person that likes to future-proof their home network, you want to buy some Ethernet cables that you know you won't have to replace anytime soon, what you can do is you can go one category up. You can buy a Cat6 Ethernet cable or a Cat6a Ethernet cable. Now, a Cat6 Ethernet cable, those support speeds up to 10 gigabits per second, as long as the length of cable is 55 meters long or less. Conversely, a Cat6a Ethernet cable, regardless of the length of those cables, they support 10 gigabits per second. You can feel secure buying Cat6 or Cat6a Ethernet cables because you know we're not going to have internet speeds that exceed 10 gigabits per second anytime soon. And most importantly, the takeaway here is do not buy these Cat8 Ethernet cables. They're way overkill. Even if you want to future-proof your home network, it's not worth spending the extra money on a Cat8 cable. Just buy a Cat5e, Cat6, or Cat6a cable, and you can call it a day. As always, thanks for checking out this episode from Network from Home, and we'll catch you on the next one.